Shabbat Shalom and Chag Pesach Sameach in advance, although it's not so far in advance. It's coming up very, very soon now. And in keeping with the theme of Pesach, I wanted to give another Passover teaching for this week. It has to do with Pharaoh. Now, last week we talked about the inner Pharaoh and the inner Moses and the inner self-created Egypt that we all live in. And this time I just want to focus a little bit more on Pharaoh. Who is Pharaoh exactly? Well, we know from the story of the Exodus that Pharaoh is the bad guy. He is the symbol of evil and lack of change, stasis, someone whose heart is being hardened by God and who doesn't seem to be much in control of what's going on, although he wants to control in the most desperate way. So what happens? There are 10 plagues of increasing intensity, and each time he is able to say no to letting the people of Israel go. And you wonder after maybe the third or fourth plague why he doesn't give in already, and the fifth and sixth plague, and it's getting pretty intense already. And, you know, Pharaoh is looking pretty foolish and stupid by this time. And you think, you know, if I were in his position, I would have just let the people of Israel go. And that's an easy kind of interpretation. However, what I came to as my life progressed was that we are all like Pharaoh, and I myself am very much like Pharaoh in my resistance to change. And plagues actually are the way that God or nature or the universe attempts to teach us the importance of change at one or another particular point in our life. And so how does that work? Well, maybe God or the universe or nature gives you a little bit of a nudge. Hey, you know, be aware, be alert. Try to head this off before it becomes a major problem. Most often we don't catch that first hint, and so there has to be a second little push from God or nature or the universe, and then maybe a third or a fourth, and then hopefully we get the point and we're able to make that change. But what happens if we don't change is that the plagues get more and more intense. And so what started out as a nudge and became a shove becomes a push, and then really it can be a knockout blow before we're really willing to look at the situation and see that we have no choice but to change. Now, in Pharaoh's case, he wasn't even able to change after the 10th plague, the death of the firstborn of Egypt. And at that point, he seems to relent. He lets the people go. But then, once he's let them go, he says, what have I done? And, you know, he sets the cavalry against the Israelites at the Red Sea and then meets his end and the end of his army. Hopefully, that's not what happens to us in the way that we deal with our plagues. So be aware of the warnings that God or nature of the universe sends you. Don't play the role of Pharaoh any longer than necessary, certainly not beyond the third or fourth warning, because after that it just gets more and more intense, and eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, we see our way clear to change. So here is wishing you a Passover preparation of alertness to the signals that God and the universe are sending you, to make the changes that you need to make in your life in order to live the best possible life, the most self-actualized, the most liberated life possible. And with these thoughts in mind, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and once again, a Chag Pesach Sameach.